Workshop. My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department at Art Storefronts. Been doing that for going on 6 years now. So I've been working for a long time on trying to solve the same problem that all you guys are trying to solve, which is how do you best monetize your creative talents. So what we normally do, I normally do this entire thing live, but recently my throat's been a little bothering me. So I've got a pre-recorded video that I recorded a couple of weeks ago running one of these sessions. It was a really good session, so it's probably better than the one that I would do live. So we'll play that, and then that'll let me save all of my energy to dive into your individual questions on the Q&A section after the fact, which is always the most fun of these things. We can get into any questions you have about what we do at Art Storefronts, or any questions about where you are in your artistic journey and career, anything that you might be struggling with from a marketing standpoint, and everything in between. So just as a sort of programming note for the session, we record this thing, and then once it's done and processed and all of that jazz, I'll send you guys an email, and it'll have the recording. So if you missed some or you came in late or whatever the case may be, you can go back and watch it. And then, throughout the presentation, we're going to be hitting you with links and reports and PDFs and videos and the like, and we'll include a bunch of those. We'll throw a bunch of those in the chat as we roll along, but we will also send you all of those links on an email after the fact. So if you're rolling along and you want to click on something in the chat, you can. If you want to just ignore it and just listen, you can do that too. And then what else? If you have questions as we're rolling along and you want to throw those into the chat, you can throw those into the chat. We can answer those as we roll along. Members of my team are in here, and myself as well. And then we'll get into the Q&A on the backside of it. So April, go ahead and start the video, and I'll see you guys on the other side. My name is Patrick. I run the marketing department here at Art Storefronts. Been doing that for about 6 years now. And that means I've been working on solving the problem that is, how do you sell art or photography by best leveraging marketing and digital marketing in particular. And it's an interesting problem to work on. There's not that many, art marketing agencies, for instance, right? Because it's a very, very hard problem to solve. Selling art and photography is not like selling every other item out there. A lot of tradecraft, a lot of nuance to it. In addition to that, I've been running 3 of these sessions since a little bit before the pandemic. So, year and a couple of months now. I don't believe that there's another human being on the planet that talks to more artists and photographers on a week in, week out basis. I have now at this point heard it all, seen it all, niche selection, pricing, sales, Facebook ads, branding, how to negotiate with the galleries, pricing, markup. I have heard and been through all of it over the last year. And in addition to that, we have like a little bit over 5,500 customers now. And one of the things that we do a great deal of is studying the ones that sell the best and studying quite in depth. For instance, who's capturing the most emails? How are they doing that? Excuse me. Who is the best on Facebook? Who is the best on Instagram? What are they posting? What kind of activity are they getting there? Who is selling the most art, period? Who is selling the most classes? Who is selling the most originals? Who's selling the most commissions? Metal prints, canvas prints. And you do all of that collectively. And why am I bringing all of this up? I think I can help you. I think today's Q&A after I'm done with the presentation can be insanely valuable. I think if you're struggling with something, I probably have a solution that can put you on the path. And I mean that in the biggest non-sales pitch way ever. I don't care if you ever do business with Art Storefronts, if you ever become a customer. I want the session to be valuable. I want to try to get you on a path to growing your art business to where you want it to be. I honestly believe that I can help you. So the Q&A will happen sort of after the presentation, and love for you to think about whatever questions you have, whether you've never sold your art before and you're just trying to get into it, whether you had robust sales pre-pandemic and the pandemic crushed you, whether you're struggling with a question of niche selection, what style should you be doing, or you're struggling with how to price your work, or you're struggling with how to get attention to your work, which, let's be honest, 100% of you guys are struggling with that. Every single solitary artist and photographer is struggling with that. But point being, have your questions ready, and we'll get into the Q&A after the fact. But I want to start with sort of this new concept that I've come up with, and I call it the art selling pyramid, okay? And I sort of stole it from Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you've seen this pyramid, right? But in Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you've got the physiological needs at the bottom, right? And the concept of the pyramid is you have to sort the blocks on the bottom before you can even contemplate sorting the blocks on the top. And the physiological needs are first, right? We have to eat, we have to sleep, we have to do that daily. That has to happen every single solitary day before we can even contemplate working on safety and shelter and money. And then you go up the thing and it's love and belonging and esteem and self-actualization. You can become a great person and all of that jazz. So let me give you the art selling pyramid, okay? Borrowed from Maslow. Same thing, pyramid, got to sort the bottom blocks, up we move. And the bottom block, the first block is attention. And I know, without equivocation, that every single solitary person on this Zoom call has an attention problem. What is attention? It is the eyeballs that you need to be able to sell your work. It is people knowing who you are, seeing your work, interacting with you. And we live in a, in a world right now where attention is the currency of the land. It's not dollars, it's attention. You have the attention, you can do anything. Without it, you're not in the game. Does the best art that's being created get sold? No. The best art that's being created that gets seen gets sold. And attention is every single solitary one of our problems. And just like in Maslow's pyramid, you have to sort it daily. You have to be working on getting more of it daily. It is no different than eating and sleeping. And I look at this little pyramid and, a perfect way for me to explain it. Do you know who some of the most powerful women, not just in the United States are, but in the entire world are? It's the Kardashians. You want to know why? They have attention, okay? Any one of those women, any of those surgically enhanced women could decide to start painting stick figures tomorrow and sell $35 million worth of art in the first year. Why? Because they have attention, okay? They understood what the currency of the land is. When you have the attention, you can do anything. Attention comes in two forms, rented and owned. Rented are YouTube subscribers and Instagram fans and Facebook followers, any social media followers you have on any of those sites. Why is it rented? It's rented because you don't own it. They can change the rules at any time. Still very important, but it's rented. The other kind of attention, the owned attention, really email addresses, most importantly. Secondarily, snail mail. And for some people that do text message marketing, it's phone numbers. But you have to work on building your attention day in, day out. It is a quotidian job. And ultimately, it's the biggest problem that every single solitary one of you on here have. Some of you think you have a website problem. Some of you think you have a pricing problem. Some of you think you have a problem negotiating with galleries. You can't even have any of those problems until you solve the attention problem. The attention problem is the whole ball game. And when you understand it, you start getting intentional. You start working at it. It is no different than eating and sleeping. What did you do to acquire more attention for your work today? If you're not working on that, then you can't even have any of the other problems. Next block, okay, after we solve the attention situation, we're working on it. It's a constant battle. It never ends. The outside of this block is number 1 and 2 here, and then I'm going to get into the block. Number 1 is the business model, okay? I believe that an artist or a photographer, if they want to build a successful business, has to understand the business model. The business model is selling direct, by which I mean you, the artist, the photographer, selling directly to your end customer. You retain the data on your end customer such that you are able to market to that customer in perpetuity. Many people, the way that the industry worked traditionally forever, was people that did not retain this information. They sold through galleries, or maybe they did the show in their circuit, but they weren't the best at keeping up with these people and marketing to them in perpetuity. I got this book that I cite all the time, and it's by Weiland. Weiland is the whale guy, okay? And don't worry, I'm going to send you links to this. But he wrote this book. He sells it directly on his website. He's depending on who you talk to, he's the #1 selling artist in the entire United States, probably even the world, to be honest with you, because of his business model and what he's done. And he talks in that book about this concept called a collector list, okay? And for Weiland, a collector list are buyers of his art that sell or that buy in upwards of 7+ pieces over the course of a lifetime. And he treats this collector list like VIP. They are, his collectors might as well be staying in the Four Seasons. He reaches out. He gives them special access to things. He likes their social media posts, and he continues to build that list, okay? And fundamentally, it is one of the single solitary most important things any art or photography business can have. Collectors surf this, you market to them in perpetuity, your prices continue to go up, they go along for the ride. Some of these people will buy in upwards of 20 and 30 and 40 pieces throughout the course of your life. And if you are not building that list, it's sort of like you're working a job and you're not putting any money away in a retirement account. It's almost like a 401k that just pays every single solitary year. And I can go into some detailed examples, but the goal is you come out with a new series. You have a show, right? Whether it's a photographic series or it's a series that you painted. You'll start out and your collector list will maybe buy 2% of the show or 5% of the show. And your goal is just to build that list such that the percentage of the work that they buy goes up and up and up. And I've seen customers that I've worked with recently where 40 to 50% of the show is bought before anyone even sees it by their collectors, just gone. So you created 20 pieces, 10 are gone instantaneously because you have been cultivating a collector list, because you understand the business model, okay? And it is, I mean, we're going to get into it, but it is so fundamental. And I've been doing this for a long time now, okay? I've talked to a lot of people, and it breaks my damn heart because on a regular basis, people are coming on these calls, okay? And they're in their late 40s, late 50s, late 60s, late 70s. They are at the top of their game. They have honed their craft to the greatest it's ever going to be. And guess what? They didn't understand the business model. And guess what? They didn't keep a collector list. And so guess what? The pandemic hit and all their offline revenue sources, poof, are gone. And they're coming on this call and they're going, Patrick, and this is how I envisioned it. They had the corner office, floor to ceiling windows, the giant executive desk, the big leather chair. And I'm telling them, I'm sorry, you're out of there and you have to go back to the mailroom and you're pushing the cart because you did not cultivate this list. Okay, you did not keep a collector list. You did not work on your marketing. You did not understand the business model. What do you have now? You have nothing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Wait the pandemic out? Like half the galleries are closed. The ones that are still open are renegotiating the split from 50-50 to 60-40 because they have 100 different artists that they want to pick from. Go back on the show and theater circuit. That's wonderful. That does not pay if it's not at 100% attendance. How long is it going to take for the show and theater circuit to get back to 100% attendance? We don't know, but it's not going to be instantaneous, right? So really, really passionate about the business model, really, really passionate about the collector list. I think the minute you understand that, boy, are you in a great place. Boy, are you in a great place. You're building it. It takes time. Okay. That's the outer shell. The inside of the block, 3 ways to sell art. There are 3 ways to sell art. Okay. Every single solitary artist, my argument, and photographer needs to understand the 3 ways to sell art and needs to be applying them in their business. Number 1, best way to sell art. Trick question of sorts. Everyone knows the best way to sell art. It's in person, face to face. It always has been. It always will be. Okay. In person, face to face is the best way to sell art. Anytime you have the ability to sell art that way, you do that. Problem, we are all of us geographically fixed on this planet. We all have to sleep. We can't have 15 conversations at once. So the third way to sell art, and I say third because it's the least important, is via your website. You absolutely have to have a website. The website solves for these problems when you're asleep, 15 people at a time, and for many of the geographic problems. The second way to sell art, okay, the newest way to sell art, the one the entire art selling world is trying to figure out right now, the greatest advancement in selling art since forever is exactly what we're doing right now. It is selling art via live video in either a one-to-one fashion or a one-to-many fashion. A one-to-one fashion, I go to Antonio's website. Antonio, these pieces are very interesting. What is that one behind you? I would like to buy it. Can we talk about it? Antonio goes, Patrick, no problem. Let me set up a Zoom call with you. I'll show you a couple of pieces and we can talk about it. I can get to know you. That is the one-to-one fashion. The one-to-many fashion, okay, which is mega interesting as well, is this concept of a live art show, okay? And what am I doing? There we go. So I have a couple examples of this I'm going to show. This is a painter in his garage studio. He has some works that he's trying to sell. He is streaming this to Instagram. He is streaming this to Facebook. He's streaming it to YouTube. He is holding the works up. He's talking about them. People can leave comments. They can purchase them. This is one particular type of these sales. This is a customer and a good friend of ours named Matthew Locke. We've run a number of these different initiatives with him. In addition, okay, to this concept of doing it in your studio, what happens if you have an actual show? He had an actual show in the middle of the pandemic. Now, attendance was limited. Now, a bunch of people couldn't travel, so the attendance to the show was light. He still sold a bunch of stuff. The day after the show, what do? We turn the cameras on. He grabs a glass of wine, wears this ridiculous sleeveless shirt. I always make fun of him for the sleeveless shirts. I can't help it. I think it's funny. And what is he doing? He's walking through the show, and you notice people are leaving comments. We're highlighting the comments. He's walking through the show. He's explaining each of the pieces. Okay. So my point in showing this is the new, and I've got another one here too. I can rattle through so many examples of this. It's crazy, but this is absolutely the future of selling art. It is the next best way. And when we contemplate, let me mute this, but I'll just give you something to stare at while I rant here. If selling art in person, face to face, is the best way to sell art, then okay, everything that we do digitally tries to get as close as possible to that. Okay. And what would be the ideal way to sell art? Let's just say it's an art gallery that you own in your hometown. Okay. People can come in, they can get to know you, have a conversation, they can buy the art. For all the people that can't geographically do that, the next best way is this via live video. Again, one-to-one or one-to-many, group show, right? And it's so close to the real thing. It's amazing. You don't have to leave your hometown. They get to know you. They get to interact with you. They feel like they have a bond with the artist. It is the future, full stop. And what's interesting is the entire world is trying to figure this out right now, okay? The entire art selling world is trying to figure it out. Your industry doesn't have a lot of reports. There's two big ones, okay? There is the Art Market 2021 report. They do one of these each year. It's from Art Basel and UBS. I'm going to send you links to the report. I want you to read it. It's amazing. It's incredible. The disclaimer on it is these guys report on the top 1% of the art selling market, right? Like the highest of the high end. The top auction houses in Christie's, the top auction houses and the top art selling dealers and the top galleries and stuff. But the report is still very, very relevant, okay? And the link we'll send you. You can download the entire report, which I recommend you do. I think you'll find it really insightful. But they have these key findings too, which is like this snazzy little web page they built to talk about it. And so I can go in here, I can explore this thing. They've got some lovely little graphs. But you read this report, and what they call it, and I'll quote, Chapter 5 looks at the online art market and the rapid evolution in sales in 2021. The chapter shows how the dealer sector shifted sales online in 2020 and the development of online viewing rooms, OVRs. Do you know what online viewing rooms are? A snooty way to talk about a Zoom call, okay? A snooty way to talk about exactly what we are doing right here, right now. So this is the future of how to sell art in an incredible fashion. I always feel like a bit of a Yahoo to share numbers, but I'm going to share numbers because it's going to give this whole entire thing some teeth, okay? So Matthew Laka, longtime customer, great friend, normally does the full dog and pony gallery shows. In the middle, so this was on June 9th, 2020, he did 2 of these over a 15-day period. He sold 62 pieces for a little bit over $30,000 Canadian. From his basement, no 50-50 split, direct, didn't have to leave. This is his garage studio. It's where he paints. Didn't even leave his living room. This gal, Meg, also a customer, she was moving studios, legitimately moving studios from one studio to another. This was about a month ago that we ran this. And, just to underscore my collector list, okay? This particular sale was teased on a Friday. On Monday, she emailed her collector list. Her collector list bought 46% of the show. She sold a little bit less than, I think, 76 different pieces for $15,000. Now, the pieces in this particular show were like the color studies, right? They weren't like the full buttoned up pieces. I'm trying to get to one where she's actually holding one. There were color studies, there were sketches, there were smaller works, right? Stuff that was just involved in it. But the point is, this is absolutely the future. It is such an incredible way to sell art and photography. The entire world is trying to figure it out. You get people using various different, at the snooty end, it's OVRs, online viewing rooms, or the art fairs and shows that are trying to keep the booth deposits. What's their line that they love? We're going to have a virtual art show, right? Everyone is trying to figure this out right now. I do not know what floor this particular elevator is going to go to. My guess is it's going to go very, very, very high. What I'm saying is right now, this elevator is on the ground floor and the doors haven't even closed yet. The whole world's trying to figure this out. And there is so much tradecraft to it, I can't even begin to tell you. This particular Zoom call, I have all you guys in a Zoom call right now, right? This is also being streamed to 2 YouTube channels, to a Facebook channel, to Twitter, all at once, all simultaneously. Everyone is trying to figure this out, and it is the most effective way to sell art, period. And so step 1 is becoming aware of it. Step 2 is starting to practice it and put it into practice. And I guarantee there's probably not a single solitary person on this call that is doing it. And people ask, what is it that you do at Art Storefronts? We teach our customers how to sell art and photography in the most advanced way as possible. And because I don't care, 90%, I tell people these things, 90% of the people will never, ever even do it. So I don't even care to give away the tradecraft. I'll give away the tradecraft right now. So my sleeveless associate here, Matthew, is using wireless Apple AirPods connected to his iPhone, which has this stream going out live on Instagram. We are leveraging software that is streaming it, that's putting in this little title here, right? And his logo and the banner at the bottom to inquire, and it's pulling the comments in. So cell phone, earpods connected to Instagram on the phone, laptop, computer, Facebook, personal Facebook, YouTube account, all of that goes down all at once simultaneously. And you can see there's numbers here if the number 2 thing goes away. He's even got little numbers here. Why? Because the people on Instagram can't see the graphics that we have on the screen. And so they need to know, okay, was that number 2 or number 3? You can't really see it, but it's like right behind here. There's like a little thing. Yeah, there it is. See, number 5. And we're on number 5. So everyone knows. There's a million little things like that. What is the best combination of the technology? How do you announce it? What do you do during the course? And don't worry, I'm going to send you guys, I'm going to send you these shows after the fact so you can watch them and pick up what you like. But this is absolutely the future, you guys, and it is completely changing the game. And you don't need to leave your house, and there are no booth fees, and there's no loading up the car and driving somewhere and staying in some crappy hotel and eating crappy food and then hoping you're going to see an ROI. There is no limit to the amount that you can run. It is the most beneficial use, highest ROI use of an artist or photographer's time I could even imagine right now. It's not even close. And again, whole world's trying to figure it out. So those are the 3 ways to sell art. I got to get back to my pyramid. You have to be running all 3, and you have to be doing all 3 consistently all year long. So we start by constantly gathering attention. We start by recognizing the business model, collector list, as well as the 3 ways to sell art. Then we get to the top of the pyramid, which is everything else. What do I mean everything else? You have a brick and mortar gallery that's working out for you, that's bringing in revenue to your business. Fantastic. We love revenue. I have never met a revenue source I don't like. Keep it going. But it's in addition, okay, not in lieu of working on attention, not in lieu of working on the 3 ways to sell art and building your own collector list. What if it's an online gallery? Maybe it's Saatchi or Fine Art America or Redbubble or Etsy or any of the others. Is it bringing in revenue? Fantastic. I've never met a revenue source I don't like, but it's in addition to everything else, okay? It's in addition to getting your own attention. It's in addition to the 3 ways of selling art. So too, if you're doing the show and Thayer circuit, we love the show and Thayer circuit. It's fantastic. I can't wait for it to come back. It is a great way to build attention, but it's in addition to those 2. You understand this pyramid, okay? You start working on this pyramid, and you are going to be on the path towards building a successful art or photography business. You don't, and you don't control the rules. You do not control the stakes. You can have the rug ripped out from underneath you at any point in time, which I've seen again and again and again on these calls. And one of the things that no one talks about, okay, and does not get mentioned enough. 3 of these a week for a year and a half, okay? It's not hyperbole. That many of them. Every single solitary week, there are people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and I would say once every 2 weeks, somebody in their 90s comes in on these calls asking questions. And so why do I bring that up? Understand the perspective of how long you guys are going to be artists and photographers selling your art or photography, okay? You guys don't go through midlife crises. Doesn't happen to creatives. You don't decide all of a sudden you're going to stop being a painter and you're going to go rent jet skis in Florida for the summer and that's going to be your job, okay? So when you have the perspective figured out that you are going to be working at this for the rest of your life into your 90s in many cases, it underscores how important it is to understand this pyramid, to start working on this pyramid. And guess what? It's not going to be easy at first if you're just getting started. It's going to be a pain in the butt. You know, I'm looking at Rick there, and Rick, if you have not been building that list the entire time, when I'm telling you, you have to learn how to email market and social media market, and you need to start doing it on a regular basis, that could be frustrating, but it's not frustrating when you got another 25 years of growth in this doggone business. So what does Art Storefronts do at the end of the day? We teach you how to do the pyramid. Yeah, we give you a website. And yeah, we put you into a university where there's no graduates because the learning never stops. That's really, in a nutshell, who we are, what we do. All right. Thanks, guys, for indulging me on the pre-played video. And, you know, to follow it up, one of the fun things that I like to say, I've been running these, you know, these sessions, these Zoom sessions with you guys, potential customers, for a year and a half or so now. And I also run a ton of sessions internally with our customers. So I end up talking to so many different artists and photographers. And even on this call, ones that are watching on the streams, you're a diverse bunch in a lot of ways, right? You're in different age groups. You're in different portions of this country and others. You are in different niches and mediums and have different addressable audience sizes. And you have different levels of skill. Some of you are just getting started. Some of you are at the peak of your talents, right? But it turns out you all have one thing in common. Every one of you has a marketing problem. It is the single solitary biggest problem you have today. It's going to be the biggest problem you have tomorrow. And it never really goes away. If you want your art or photography business to grow year over year, you have to fix the marketing problem. If you don't, then you're not going to make it. That's what the odds say. That's what the mathematics say. So we have to fix that problem. And what ends up happening, in my experience, and I notice this a ton with my customers, is that your natural inclination is not to want to market, is not to want to work on marketing. It goes as far as to find every little nonsensical thing to worry about and stress about, except the marketing. Even once we get you marketing consistently, your natural tendency is to stop marketing consistently. And, you know, it's kind of like one of the things that we do at Art Storefronts, that we're like, guys, we have a ton of really successful artists and photographers here. We study what they do. We've sold a ton of art and photography ourselves. We do it on a regular basis. This is your lane, okay? This is your lane. If you stay in this lane and you do not come out of this lane and you continue working day after day after day and the years stack up, your business will continue to grow. But if you start veering off and trying to get off the freeway or go park somewhere else, our job is just to pick you up, put you back in the lane and say, get going again. And, you know, I sort of look at like how to solve the marketing problem at a macro. Okay, what is the best way to do that? And what I've come to learn for a long time, you know, I think we've had the best tactical marketing instruction that exists to sell art and photography. And it's not braggadocio. We've been working on it for longer than anyone else, and we're good at marketing. But it's not enough. The marketing's not enough. And to get you guys consistently working on your marketing, i.e. to get you to grow your business year after year after year, the easiest way to think about it, it's like trying to solve the losing weight problem, right? And how do you lose weight? There's two levers, right? There's diet and there's exercise. And if you're not pulling both at the same time, you'll never get there. Well, come to find out, after working with thousands of you guys year after year after year after year, artists and photographers by and large are solopreneurs. You are a solo entrepreneur. You don't have an entire office full of people that are working with you on trying to solve this problem, i.e. you're on your own. And being an entrepreneur is lonely. It's hard. It's full of ups and downs. It is stressful. And it's extremely important to not only have the best tactical marketing advice and information out there, but also to have the emotional support to, you know, explain the perspective of how long this thing takes, to buck you up, to be a trampoline, you know, that can bump you back up when you're down in the depths, and to be able to go through that entire situation of how you grow this business and how you get better year over year with a group of peers that are trying to do the same thing that you are. It is so critically important to have the whole emotional support quotient. And I realize that's like 50% of what we do. Like, it's like solving the weight loss problem. You have to have diet and exercise. Well, solving the starving artist problem, you have to have really good tactical marketing help, and you have to have constant emotional support. And it's like 50-50. And, you know, that's how it goes. And that's what we do at Art Storefronts, big picture. So I'll open it up to Q&A. We do have a smaller group today, so that means I can spend a ton of time on your guys' questions. I hope you have some. How do we do the question thing? If you're one of the brave ones that has your camera on, I see no one's brave yet today. You can raise your hand the old-fashioned way, and I'll see that, and I'll be like, okay, I'm going to call on you. But for everyone else, if you look at the bottom of your Zoom bar here, and I'll kind of show it, there's a reactions button. You see it's like, down here, it's this little smiley face thing. And you can click on that, and what that lets you do is hit a raise hand button, and you sort of raise your hand digitally speaking. That lets me know you have a question. And I'd be happy to unmute you. If you don't want to turn your camera on, you don't have to turn your camera on. I hate being on video. I totally understand not wanting to be on video. And if you're one of the ones that's watching on the socials, whether it's Facebook or YouTube or Twitter, I will see your questions. And yes, I will answer those in real time. And I can do that. And Dominic, thank you for being brave, being the first one to turn the camera on. We'll start with you. Do you have a question, Dominic? You're the first brave one, so I'm just going to unmute you anyway.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, I'd replied to your email asking for like thoughts on podcast stuff. And so, looking at the kind of the landscape right now and like your platform, like what's the validity of NFTs, right? Like how is that being worked into the flow?
Yeah, so we've the CEO and I both are crypto nuts. Buy it regularly, trade, have been since I can remember when Bitcoins cost like, a couple of bucks. And I remember when you could buy them on eBay for $10, which was awesome. But anyway, we've experimented it. We played around with it. We're keeping a close eye on them. And, I think what's interesting about them is everyone normally thinks about art in like zero-sum game terms. Like, let's just say this is the size of the available art market. NFTs isn't stealing from it. It's just an expansion because it's all these people that have the crypto money that are buying it. But thinking that your art is not selling in the normal traditional ways, and then all of a sudden you're going to jump in there and start selling NFTs, you still have to market. You still have to go through the entire thing, right? So it's very easy to place an NFT, mint one, put it on OpenSea, put it on one of the other exchanges, and throw it in your store and go and sell it that way. And we have some customers that are doing that. We have some customers that have sold some. We have some customers that one in particular that's like our resident expert that is like so deep into it. It's in the Clubhouse forums all the time. So we're paying close attention to it. And I think, there might be a time in the future where we start integrating more of it. But for right now, for most people, it's a distraction, right? Like you have to be so technologically advanced to even understand how to do the whole process and get it up, get it in, get it listed. But you still have to market it, right? So you have to solve the marketing problem regardless whether you get into those things or not, Dominic. So definitely not against them. Definitely love what they portend. Definitely think they're the future. And, just to go on a side tangent, everyone right now, because like version 1 of NFTs, and everyone else is probably like, what the heck are you talking about, NFT? It just stands for non-fungible token. And it's essentially a coin, a cryptographic coin that you can buy that has a smart contract in it that says this, that, or the other. But I think very soon, one of the most interesting things about NFTs are going to be, you can put your house mortgage into an NFT, and you can say, let's just say I'm going to sell mine to Dominic, or I'm going to sell mine to Luke here, right? Because he's got the cool background, and I'm going to say, Luke, here's my house, here's how much I owe, here is first right of refusal. I'll put you on the deed. You have the money to give me a 30-year fixed mortgage, and that's an investment that you want to take. Here's the NFT, and you buy it. And all of that is in the NFT contractually, and it allows you all of a sudden to own mortgages, right? Like that's where we're going to see NFTs go, and they're going to continue to grow, and it's awesome, and it's going to be the future, but it's going to take a long time. It's going to take a long, long time. So that's what I would say. So it'll be a while. It'll be a while, but I love what it pretends. I love what it all portends. Decentralized everything for the win. But what else, Luke? The only ones I can pick on for questions are the ones that have their cameras on. So you have a question? I'll unmute you. Let me know if you do.
Sure. Well, I have all the questions.
Good. Let's go. That's what this is for.
I'm just starting this out, but so with the question of or the idea, marketing, getting the audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's also I don't want 10,000 people to visit my website that doesn't even exist yet. I want the 50 people that are actually going to buy And so how to streamline or how to do strategic marketing or strategic messaging to people that are actually going to turn into customers.
Okay, it's a good question. I want to start with one first, though. Your audio setup is even better than mine. What do we do with these lovely toys?
What do I do?
Yeah,
I talk into this one.
Yeah, but is it for gaming or podcasting or making videos? I'm
No,
just curious. You
just fantastic Zoom calls.
oh, well, I love that. I love that. Good on you. Yeah, I think you're overthinking it, right? Like, the audience size is, you constantly want to be growing it, right? And what I see being in this business for the number of years that I am is you have to have the perspective of how long you're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing this for years and years and years, right? And let's say you're creating and you're constantly creating, right? Well, everyone's audience falls into a socioeconomic bell curve. Okay, everyone's, mine, yours, Dominic's, Yanko's here who's watching. On the one end of the scale, you have the low end of the socioeconomic bell curve, and then you have the lower middle class, upper middle class, high net worth individuals. Right? Those are all the people that follow you, and there's some distribution of those folks in there. And if they like what you do, some of them might be ready to buy art right now. Some of them might be ready to buy art 2 years from now. Some of them might not be ready to buy art until 15 years from now. It doesn't matter. When you're marketing consistently, they're constantly getting exposed to your art. They're getting to know, like, and trust you. And so the businesses that grow are constantly growing their audience size. And that's how you grow a business. That's how you grow any business, right? So you don't necessarily stress about, is it 10,000 or is it 50 people that love me, right? Is it 50 true fans or is it 1 million people? It doesn't matter. You just always want to be growing it, because that's how the business grows consistently year over year. That's how you start to get consistent, regular sales, right? So that's sort of the ballgame with it. But I don't know. Did that answer the question? You should be able to unmute again. I saw you muted again. Let me see. Sometimes it goes a little wonky. The Zoom. There, I did it again. Yep.
There we go. Yes. Yeah, I think it did.
What kind of stuff do you do?
Photography, so fine art photography that, with the print, in bigger prints. But, I have two perspectives. One is, I respect what I do enough to, and think it's good enough that it can be fine art, but, then don't want to necessarily get in the whole like limited edition of 10, and each one is more than the last, and there's only going to be 10 of them on the planet, because I think that's at the same time exclusionary and kind of a crappy way of like not letting art proliferate as it should. So then I'm looking at also, print and and household goods and business cards and stationery and all those other things.
Yeah, you know what I would say is that, like, just because you do a limited edition doesn't mean you can't have an open edition, right? Like, you can do a limited edition. Let's just say you had a series and there were 6 images in the series, right? You could do a limited edition of the 6 and do the 6 bigger and do them on acrylic, and those are the only ones that'll ever be allowed on acrylic. But guess what? There's completely open editions of that exact same print for, canvas prints and for metal prints and for wood prints. But the hand-signed acrylic ones, there'll only ever be, 12 of them, right? And then you can charge the higher price so that you can attempt to make a living off your craft. And I don't think that's exclusionary at all, right? Like, there's only one original, Starry Night, but Starry Night is on 100 million different people's walls.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that's awesome. Like, to your point, like, if the art is beautiful and people want it, that's fantastic. But yeah, you don't necessarily, it's not a zero-sum game ever, right? Like, there's so many different ways to spin it. Have you tried selling your stuff so far?
Not really, just, friends and family. But
That's how it starts.
Ready to pull the trigger, we'll say.
Yeah. Early on, the first problem you have is you have an art validation problem, right? You need to determine whether or not the photographic work you're creating will sell to people not named Luke, mom, dad, brother, sister, family, and friends, because they'll do anything, right? They'll lay down in traffic. They'll tell you your work is beautiful. They'll buy it all the time. But once you start selling to strangers, you realize you have a product the market wants. And then at that point in time, you have a marketing problem like all the rest of us. That's how it goes. So if I were you, I would pick my, call it 5 to 7 favorite prints. I would get small ones made, i.e., that size, right? And this one's on acrylic. It looks a little circusy because I've got a green screen going on, so you have to deal with that. And then hold them up, and guys. And for you, I would recommend you do this digitally. I imagine you have a decent following on either Facebook or Instagram. Use that microphone and turn the phone on and go, guys, I'm finally getting my fine art career launched. And the way I've decided to do it is I'm having a one-day flash sale, okay? I have a number of prints here I'm going to show you. And this is a so-and-so on acrylic, right? It's ready to hang, doesn't need a frame. Zoom in on it, show them the detail, talk about it, say what you would normally sell it for, send me a DM here on Instagram, send me a DM or send me a message on Messenger, or text me if you have my number. Thanks. And go through your 5 to 7 and say, if you need bigger sizes, let me know. Bigger sizes are available. You can do that for like $175. You could have all the samples you need to do that, right? It's that simple. But understand what you're selling, Luke. You're not selling 2D images, right? You're selling this. It's real. I can covet it. I can see it goes on my wall, right? And then, you can do canvas. And then you can do metal. And do you notice how tiny these are? They're tiny for a reason, because it's very easy to show them on a webcam, right? That's the beauty. And like, they can see exactly what a metal print looks like, and you can show the little stoppers and the zoom in on the detail and do all that kind of jazz. So that's what I would say you do. You got to do it though, Luke.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And the mic sounds awesome, dude. I think it really sounds clean. All right, Alex, you're up next. And then I'll get back to you, Dom. Yep,
Hello?
gotcha.
Cool. All right. Getting back in the game.
Good for you.
And basically what I've continued doing is a combination of either Instagram live sessions or just me drawing and having the camera above my artwork.
Cool.
And then putting up a time lapse. So that seems to get the most responses from people. Set up my VIP list from my emails, and going to notify them about the exclusivity and appreciation of any sales, whether it's 25% off or it's like we're talking about with the live sales.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, this is coming up 2 days out or whatever. You get first grab at it.
Are you a customer already?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you are. You realize this webinar is for non-customers, which is not to say you can't be here. You totally can, but we have better internal ones for you.
Well, again, it just like
the one you can get on.
Sailing a ship somehow, getting the boat out there, as you say.
Yeah. Can I ask you a personal question? What kind of street bikes do you have?
Street bikes?
Yeah.
Nothing. I've just got a specialized tarmac.
I see the helmets, and I'm like, whoa, he's going fast on something.
That's my old go-kart helmet.
Yeah.
And then that was for a show in Singapore.
Awesome.
So, but yeah, I love racing.
Yeah, me too.
But quick question: did you go to CODA?
No.
Okay. Anyways, so going forward, I guess I'm just saying what's best practice for.
Yeah. So for you, following the art marketing calendar to the best of your ability.
Sure.
Knowing that it's going to be a massive pain in the ass early on to have to learn and do all that stuff consistently, and just know that it gets easier and easier and easier each iteration you do. But you've heard me banging the drum about Q4. The most important thing you can do right now is pre-marketing. The fact that you're already doing video makes me very happy, because that's a hard thing to get people to do. And follow our playbook verbatim for all of the sales that we're going to have you running, which are going to be starting very, very soon. If you can just get on the art marketing calendar, don't let that thing overwhelm you. Do as much as you can. It's the best possible thing you can do. Right now is no joke. Like, he's a customer, so I have to speak a little bit differently to Alex, but for the last previous year after year after year, we take all of the customers on our Storefronts platform and we collectively put all their sales together in one bucket, right? So what happened last year and the year before was roughly sales from September, August, pretty much averaged each one of the summer months. They end up doing 1.5x in October. They end up tripling in November, and then they go back down to a 1.5 multiple in December. And that's just for selling in the fourth quarter, because there's just so many people out there buying. And I got to say too, guys, like, I think this one's going to be even better because we have such infrastructure issues in this country right now. I mean, I live in Southern California. I can't even begin to tell you how many boats I can see as soon as I go down to the beach. So I have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of goods from here, there, and everywhere that people can't get a hold of, right? And so all it does is just free up more available dollars to buy art, as far as I'm concerned. So I think it's going to be a killer one. You guys aren't going to have any supply chain issues. You're going to be able to deliver, assuming the truckers stay at it. So who are you integrated with? You integrated with Bay or Guten? I mean, Bay or Graphic?
Bay.
Yeah, they're going to have zero shipping issues. So yeah, you got to just follow the calendar.
One of the things I feel like I'm encountering is repeat messaging maybe to current people on my email list.
Yep.
And keeping it fresh for them. And generally when I'm doing a sale, so I'll do, since I'm concentrating on motor racing art, I'll do something for Indy 500, 24 Hours Le Mans, Christmas, obviously, that type of thing is we're going into Q4. But it doesn't seem to click. And I don't know if it's the fact that I'm not doing the romance thing right and then easing them into the sale, or if it's something that's just like, hey, I've seen these images 50 times.
Early on, it always goes like this. You always second guess everything. You always like thinking about the data. Like, don't worry about any of it. You just have to keep doing it consistently. It sounds cliche, but it's so utterly, totally, and completely true. And as long as, like I said, as long as you follow the calendar and you're getting some new people in, right? Like, go through Q4 until you reevaluate anything or stress about any of that data whatsoever. And also, too, the trap that we always fall into is that we think everyone sees every marketing message we put out. They don't.
Right.
They just don't. We are busy. How many emails do you read that are actually coming in all the time? Like, you're skipping them all the time, right? By the way, I love that whole the British guy, the Mercedes guy, right, versus Verstappen, that little like feud that's going on in F1. I think if that's not fake, I don't know, but I've never seen so many mentions in my life. Anyway, I think it's cool. I think it's good for the sport.
We should talk on the side about that.
Yeah, I'd love
the spat between Harvick and Elliott's the one that's comedic to me. But anyways,
all right. Side notes, and start attending office hours. I'm doing a whole session on merchandising on Friday. I want you to see it. Don't worry. We'll email the hell out of you about it.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Good stuff, Alex.
All right.
Thanks. Okay, Dominic, you're up next.
Hey, thanks. I had to jump because Matthew called me and I got a demo booked for tomorrow. So
yep, all good.
So the next question I had was around, recommendations on selling originals when you're a digital artist. So like all of the painting that I do is digital.
Yep.
And so there's not ever really an original per se. I mean, there is, right? But I mean, I've never really sold an original. I sell like limited editions, I guess. But
yeah, limited editions, open editions, and you can totally do that. It's okay. The fact that it's digital doesn't matter. They're obviously are going to want to hold you accountable, and so you need to have honesty and integrity that this is a limited edition of one. I'm never gonna do another one ever again, right? But most people are pretty understanding of, hey, this is the limited edition. I'm also doing the open edition because the limited edition or the original, let's just say, the value of that piece just goes up and up and up depending on how many people have these other various different things on the wall, right? So that's sort of an interesting aspect of it. But I think, these are sort of all the traps that your mind gets stuck in early on, right? And it doesn't matter. They're completely irrelevant. Like, you just start marketing, stay marketing consistently. It's the only thing that matters. It's the only thing you got to solve for.
Okay.
Well, trust me, Dominic, we'll help you because, like I said, it's nonstop poking and prodding and screaming and yelling. But I know, like the rising tide that lifts all boats is the consistent marketing. All these things you figure out as the time goes on, right? Like, you might need to do originals that are one-offs, right? In a weird capacity. You might need to do limited editions and open editions, and you might need to do bigger pieces, and you'll never know until you start testing. And you need the eyeballs to give you the validation to know whether or not your strategy's working, right? So that's just all. Yeah, it's just all part of the game as you roll along. But I'll tell you, and I'm so stoked that Alex is doing the live art shows. Like, these live art shows, people think it's like a joke, and I'm like throwing this out there for my health or something. I want to show you, brag about this. And then Bucky, I know you had a question too. I'll get your question too. Don't worry. I want to show you guys this. So this is just insanity to me. So one of the things, where's my thing? That's not pulling up. Hold on, I got to get to the right thing, and then it'll pull up. There it is. So one of the things that we did early on is we started offering, like Ghost in the Machine live art show services. We have you'll figure this out when you become a customer, Brandon, if you do or don't. But anyway, or Dominic rather. But we have an in-house marketing agency, right? And there's times when you just don't want to do whatever it is, and so you can pay the agency and they can do it for you. So one of the services that we have is we'll help you do the entire live art show, all the pre-marketing, actually being there and helping you run the show, and then what to do after the fact, right? And this is a customer, her name's Carol. She shoots wild horses, right? That you can see behind. And, to her credit, these things are like a hot button political issue right now because these things run wild on BLM land in our country, Bureau of Land Management. So it's federally mandated land or federally, what would you call it? I don't even know, administered land. And I guess like all the farmers and ranchers are like, these wild horses are a pain in the ass. Can you get them out of here? They're creating problems. And so they're trying to cull them. And it's like a massive hot button issue for the people that love them. So I say that backstory to say that she has like a massive like built-in audience. Like she got interviewed by the New York Times and like she went on like some Fox News show to talk about the wild horse thing. But I want to show these results because they are so insanely staggering. I've never seen anything like it. So the date on this live show, okay, and I'm going to send you a couple of them after the fact. This was the first one that we helped her run, and we were still working out the kinks. This was in March 24th of this year, right? So she sold 6 pieces for $1,800, $303, which is the average order value. And that was the first one, and she was the first one to buy the service that we had in the agency. And we're like, okay, tell you what, we'll give you the second one for free. We think we can do a little bit better. $1,800 is still not bad. That's still a great result for your first one. But let's just see where we can do. So we ran a second one with her, and this was June 23rd. So this was roughly 3 months later. And much better result this time, right? On this one, this one, see, was Prime Day. We do this kind of nonsense all the time where we like tell you to run sales when it's a good time to run sales. Great time to run sales is when Amazon Prime has Prime Day because it's a big deal. So on this one, she sold 39 pieces, $6,600, average order value $136. They were much smaller pieces. Okay, this is her third one, okay, which happened last week. And it's 10/7 on here. Yeah, so it was last week, Thursday. She did 27,000, sold 119 pieces directly from her website. And this is using the new live art show pages that we have. And I don't know if you've seen these things, Alex, but they're awesome. I designed this thing from scratch myself. Okay. There's nowhere you can click on here. There's nowhere on the header. There's a share button and there's a shopping cart because I don't want you leaving this thing ever, right? And so you run the show, right? And, what is she doing here, by the way? Luke, she's holding up the pieces, right? She's got them printed. You can see how this thing is the thing that would actually go on your wall, right? And the way this page works, it's awesome. You just take photos of the pieces and notice how she's got them on whatever backgrounds and some of them she's shooting on the carpet and the floor in the corner of her office. It doesn't matter. And you drop all the images at once, boom. They all instantaneously convert into this grid. You title them, you price them, you put what you want on them, and then a bunch of buy now buttons show up. And you can set the quantities and everything else. And it's awesome because I've got this little side drawer checkout thing where they can just boom, put their stuff in here. Or if they want to use Google Pay or Apple Pay, they can do that too. I think I have to put some information before I do that. Oh yeah, here's the instant checkout. No, where's my Google Pay thing? I don't know. I can't find it. You might have to tell me what I'm doing wrong. Anyway, it's beside the point. It's very, very easy to make purchases, and then the minute that it goes sold, and everyone will know at that point in time, like boom, done. The thing's off the market. I can't get it, so it creates some FOMO, which is nice. But I'll just tell you right now, the fact that 1, 2, 3, basically 3 months in between one, and she's already hitting 27K. Now, granted, like this was a fundraiser, and I'm sure she had to split some portion of this with whatever institution she was doing. But that's insane, right? That's insane. She's not even leaving her studio, and this is just so the future of selling art, period. Again, Alex, why I was fired up. You're doing the video already. I've never seen anything like this. I've never seen a marketing technique or sales technique work like this in my entire career of doing this. I've never even seen even Facebook ads in their earliest days did they work this well. It's just absolutely staggering. It's absolutely the future of selling art and photography. So there's still time to get going on all that, to be thinking about your live art shows. So Dominic, when you sign up, you're going to have to just get prints immediately. So you have something to show. It's so important to do the merchandising and to actually like show things. So that's what I would say. And you muted again. I don't know if you were done, Dom, or not. I'll mute you one last time just in case.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I've got a stack of prints sitting here, and that's
good.
That's been the easiest thing to do is get the stuff. But I'll tell you, this last year has just been frustrating as all get out between the marketplaces and everything.
Oh, 100%, 100%, 100%. But also, too, understand how not frustrating it would have been had you been working on your marketing, right? Like, we just lived through the most extraordinary time that anyone that we know is alive has lived through. And it just so turns out that it was a windfall for anything in the home decor segment, right? You had all of us, you had record demand for art, okay? Just like everything else in the home decor segment, because why? Everyone was at home. Everyone was not going back to work. No one was spending on babysitters or going to concerts or traveling or date night or anything else, right? And you were just stuck at home and your income didn't really change. And it was at a time when the economy was going good. And you're finally like looking at these white walls going, God, I'm so sick of these white walls. I'm finally ready to do something about it, right? Like, I'm so sick of being on Zoom calls. I got to get something cool behind me instead of this stupid thing that I'm looking at. And record high demand for art, for photography, and all of the available venues where that stuff was normally purchased were closed, right? They were essentially closed. So the people that were marketing consistently and had an audience to speak to prior to the pandemic hitting had some of the best years of their entire lives. They were not beholden to anyone other than their own marketing work, and that's why they thrived in that particular situation. So that's what I'd say.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
But it's certainly frustrating for sure. All right, Bucky, I'm unmuting you. No looking at the phone, though. You're driving. I don't know if you had did you have a question, Bucky? I don't know if you did or if you didn't.
Mute. Okay, to continue with the road bike motif, I have a Specialized Roubaix sitting in the passenger seat.
Oh, that's awesome. Keep driving too, Bucky. We're gonna need you guys.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're gonna need you.
Okay.
Are you a truck driver?
Yes.
Yeah, keep driving, brother.
Yes, I am.
We're gonna need you guys massively. I'm gonna stop your video camera because your signal is a little bit wishy-washy. But Alex says nice. That's an awesome bike. By the way, so yeah.
It is an awesome bike.
Yeah. But okay, so
Can you hear me clearly?
Ish. You're kind of like, it gives me like a little signal meter, and your signal's a little crappy. But go ahead with the question anyway. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, it's actually 3 questions. The first one was, I'm doing the live videos.
Good.
I'm marketing every day, and once in the morning, once in the evening. I, in 5 weeks, have built my Facebook fan base from under 200 to almost 12,000. What I want to know is, I'm ADD, so doing the playbook is tough. Last night I waded into it to try to buy wholesale prints to show on a video.
Yes.
I like the videos, but the video shown is not the current page that's being offered on my art storefronts. It's completely different. Or is that right now on the page I was told to go to, it's icons as opposed to a drop-down bar.
Okay. Yeah. So you're a customer too. Bucky, I would just say fill out a ticket with support, and we can get you sorted in 2 seconds. The page is ready to go. You have it. It's already turned on. It's already turned on in your back end, and it's super easy to build. Juan and Bucky, I'm gonna mute you because you're going in and out like crazy. I don't think you have the signal to sustain this, but see if you can just listen. Tell him Juan where to go to find the live art show pages in the back end.
That's just basically by opening a new store. So adding a new page on the back end of your website, and then selecting the option store. Once you hit next, it would allow you to select the new live art show store. Yeah. That's how to do it.
Yeah, Bucky, it takes like literally 2 seconds. Super easy to build. And these are the things that you figure out when you've like run a bunch of these, and it's like one of my favorite things that we do is that we're running these things literally all the time, and you keep learning and getting better. And what you find is you need one centralized place for everyone to be able to go to during the show, after the show. If you email your collectors first, Alex, like the VIPs, right? Before the show even starts. And that's what this thing is. And it's like, sometimes you get people sending you messages and 2 people are trying to buy a piece at the same time, and that's infuriating. And all it does is create a customer service headache for you. So when it's all on here and you immediately see the sold button after the fact, you know, like, okay, boom, that thing's done. I can't get that one, right? And then also, a lot of people are not going to be able to see the show live. That's just how it's going to go, right? So you need something to email everyone else after the fact. And, you know, the fact that you can just watch this thing and it's like, ooh, number 4, Fearless one. Let me go down and find that one. There it is, number 4, Fearless one, buy now, done, right? Like, you know, there's no like complicated, vast, crazy checkout thing. And, you know, the thing is too, is that, you know, these can be one-offs or you can set the quantity at 50. It doesn't matter, right? And it'll eventually go to sold after the 50 are completely sold out. So really interesting, but we're continuing to test and hack at it and sort of see how it goes and see how things go. Got a lot of work to do there left, but there's going to be iterations and versions of that page as we roll along. So that's what I would say. But what else, guys? Any other questions? Things that you would like to know more of? And no, Luke. So Luke's asking. You were asking about the NFT. Would it be an original? So all the NFT does is establish ownership to the piece, and it gives you the smart contract component as well, right? You know, as amazing as the blockchain is, one of the things they've not figured out is how to make the blockchain like a massive storage unit, right? So, you know, trying to store something on the blockchain that's like 10 megabytes or 15 megabytes or 20 megabytes or 100 megabytes is like a really, really hard thing to do. They don't have that figured out yet. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of people hacking at it, right? You know, backed up forever storage on the blockchain. But the point is that if any of you guys, let's say you or Dominic, sold me, okay, a digital image as an NFT, I'd buy the NFT. Inside the NFT is a contract, and it could say, you know, Luke Good Loomis formally asserts that Patrick Shanahan or whoever owns this NFT is the one that completely owns this piece, right? They own it in perpetuity, and then you can put whatever else you want in there. You can say, if it ever sells again, Luke is entitled to 10% of the sale, right? And all of that will be executed by the smart contract. Okay, that's all well and good, fantastic. But guess what? You still have to send me the digital image. And you have to and I have to trust you that you're not sending that thing to 50 other people, right? Like, okay, well, what's going on here, Luke? Can I trust you? And, you know, the other interesting thing is like, you can have an NFT and you can have a smart contract, but it gets real hard to start enforcing those things the minute we start jumping borders, right? Like, okay, great. Someone in Kazakhstan bought your NFT. Good luck finding a lawyer to sue them in Kazakhstan if they're starting to reproduce the thing and you don't know about it, right? So it's still a little sticky early days on this whole thing, but it's a fantastic thing to contemplate. But yeah, you would hope that it like, okay, I bought this NFT and I can open it and get my image, and it's like, no, I bought the NFT. That's great. I have that. I've got that in my MetaMask wallet now. Could you send me the image, Luke? Thank you. You know, and I gotta make sure that it comes through high resolution and everything else, which is great. Okay. Lovreen. Is it Lovreen? What a great name. If it is Lovreen. I hope I pronounced it right.
It is.
Yeah.
You're pronouncing it right.
Amazing. I've never seen that name before in my life. That's incredible. So you're asking a really good question. It's how much time do most successful artists spend on a week? And it's totally a flawed question, and I'll explain why.
Okay.
The premise underpinning the question is there is some sort of magical hours per week spent marketing that will yield X level of success. And what's so wild about this particular industry, because there's so many different variables in it. What is the subject matter? What are the price points? What market are you selling into, right? You know, who are you as a brand? What part of the country are you in? What advantages do you have, right? You know, is your topic timely? You know, how much competition do you have? That there is no magical formula that works for everyone. I wish there was. There just isn't. And, you know, to give you like one of the analogies that I always give that's like crazy, Lavreen, is that we have a gal on the platform that has 5,000 followers on Instagram, okay? And she has a normal size email list. We've got a guy that has 1.2 million followers on Instagram, and he has the same size email list. The gal outsells the guy 10 to 1. 10 to 1. How the hell do I explain that? Right? How do I explain that? You got to grow your social following, right? Here's a guy that's got 1 million. He should be able to clean his clock. And the point is that there's just no magical formula that works for everybody. Everybody's just a little bit different. But what I will say, Lavreen, is that what you've never done, what no one in this call has ever done, is market consistently all year long. Okay. And so the key is the consistency. And so you sort of, what ends up happening here's how it always goes, Laverine. And I see this every single solitary time. You write the mental check in your mind. I've got 3 hours a week to give to this thing. Right. And what ends up happening is for the first time in your entire life, you actually do give it 3 hours a week consistently. And what ends up happening at like month 3 or 4 is you start to panic because you're not seeing the results that you would see. And you're like, does any of this work? Do I want to quit? And that's what everyone does all the time normally, right? If they even make it 3 or 4 weeks. What we tell you is, no. Laverine, keep going. And then at month like 5 or 6, you get a win. You get a win. And it could be sales. It could be an interior decorator calls you. It can be you got into a jury at art show or a gallery wants to pick you up. Whatever it is, there's some sort of win. And what I find is that it ends up like filling up the emotional reservoir that we all have as humans that we need to like keep working on this business. And you're like, yeah. And then all of a sudden I look at what you're doing and I'm like, wait a minute, Laverine. There's no way you did all of that in 3 hours this week. You're giving me 6 hours a week now, aren't you? And you're going to be like, yeah, I am. And that's how it ends up going. So the key is that you give it consistently, right? And that's what we help you do. And then we also make sure that you're working, only on the stuff that is actually ROI positive, right? Rather than chasing your tail, which was like, ooh, should I do SEO? Ooh, should I go on Pinterest? No, you shouldn't do either of those. Don't even spend a minute. Do this, right? We'll show you exactly what to do. And that part's really important too. So that's what I would say. It's less about everybody's got what they've got. And I would say like 80% of our customers have full-time jobs. Straight up. They do. They have full-time jobs and they have children, right? And they sorry, I was answering a comment on Facebook. They have limited time, right? So they put in what they can put in, and the consistency is just what moves mountains. It utterly, totally, and completely changes the game, and no one ever does it, right? No one ever does it. So, yeah, that's what I would say. It's a fascinating question, that one, and it's one I get all the time. Luke, ICC profiles, practically speaking, are not an issue at all. You can do a different one for every paper type, whatever. But that's like a very artist specific question. You could have 57 different versions of one of your prints, and the colors be a little bit different on every single solitary one, and the only one that would know would be you. Your customers would never know. Practically speaking, the quality of prints and the way that the whole process comes out now, it's such a non-issue. The color is just such a non-issue. Like they have all like it used to be back in the day that like how good you were calibrating your monitor and what device you used to calibrate your monitor and how accurate you got your colors that way and the embedded ICC profiles and then how you sent it. Now it's like these big printers have the best monitors. They all use the same color calibration tools. They're all using the same inks and the same printers and the same media types, right? And the only difference between them and everyone else is the fact that they're doing 30 million and the local guy's doing 300,000. Well, guess what? When you do 30 million, you get better prices on everything. When you do 30 million, you get way better prices at FedEx and UPS. So roundabout way of saying a lot of the craft of digital printing has kind of gone away, and it's just sort of become a commodity. Sadly said, right? So you won't have those issues at all. They're just non-issues. Every once in a while, you order a sample, and if you don't like the color, you adjust something, then you nail it. That one's done. You don't have to worry about that one ever again. But yeah, that's what I would say. One of those other nonsensical things that you can get dragged into the weeds on, but doesn't physically grow the business, right? And doesn't move the business forward. So we help you not focus on a bunch of those nonsensicals. That's part of the ball game. It's like, the marketing advice we give you is very good. The marketing advice we give you is based on a long time trying to sell art and photography. The marketing advice that we give you is based on people that are really, really successful, right? Like, like Carol that just had a $30,000 show. Like you can copy that playbook, right? That's actual real success. That's not some Yahoo guru telling you something to go do something. This is, people are getting great results. Like bullshit. Show me the results. I'll show you the results. But you know what the best part of the advice is that I find? It's not what to do. It's what you can ignore. It's what you can ignore. Like we can say conclusively, you don't need to spend a minute of time worried or stressed about this, that, the other thing, or anything in between. We know because none of that ever grows the business, right? Like, it's so many of you guys have the tendency to focus on the nonsensical stuff. It's just the nature of the creative brain and the business brain. For some reason, I don't know why it works out that way, but it just does. So, what you ignore sometimes is more important than even what you're working on, or equally important, I should say. It's sort of the profundity of this business, I would say, on some levels. Anyway, What else, guys? Questions? I think Loverine, I don't know if that answered it completely. I know you said thank you. I'll unmute you again just in case you have a follow-up. And okay.
That was perfect. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know, the advice, like I was saying to Alex earlier, like, you guys, the biggest art selling time of the year is upon us, okay? And when I was a kid, we used to live in a civilized world. We would all meet with our families for Thanksgiving, and then the day after, there would be this thing called Black Friday, which there would actually be like shopping and a lot of deals, and then it was over. And then you would just procrastinate and do your Christmas shopping at the last minute, and we'd be done, and we'd get through the year. Then, at some point in time when I was a kid, somebody invented out of whole cloth a holiday called Cyber Monday. And all of a sudden, the Black Friday weekend of deals stretched all the way to Cyber Monday, okay? Then some enterprising merchant goes, you know what we're going to do? We're going to move our Black Friday sale up 2 weeks so we can suck all that money out of the ecosystem before everyone else. And then the year after that, 5,000 different vendors did that. They all moved their sale up. Now, we're already in it. The sales are going to start happening like before Halloween, and then it's just going to be sale. We get bombarded as human beings from every single solitary angle imaginable. And all it does is give us little dopamine hits and little hits of FOMO. FOMO's fear of missing out. Like, deals in the water. Get my credit card. Handle the credit card at the ready. I got to get my Christmas shopping done, right? And your job as an artist is to say, oh my gosh, if the entire world is whipping up this frenzy, all I have to do is make sure I have a sale in the water. And guess what? You know how many artists just let Q4 come and go and don't do a damn thing about it? The majority of you, right? Step one is that there's actually a medal for just showing up. And the showing up is just do a little pre-marketing and saying you're going to have a sale a couple weeks before Black Friday. That's enough, right? But there's still time to get everything set up, get everything dialed in, get your art up on a website, and get it ready for the biggest art selling time of the year. But the clock is definitely ticking. All right, Deborah, did you have a question? I'll unmute you. You have to unmute first, Deborah. It's a mic icon. Yep, gotcha. Oh, boo. So what happened is, I can't tell. Give me a thumbs up if you're on your phone, or are you on your phone or no? Yeah, you are. So you're unmuted. I can see you're unmuted, but when you're talking, nothing's happening. What normally happens if you're on a computer is you selected the wrong microphone, but you're on a phone. Do you know what I would do? Is I would bounce out of the Zoom session completely and then come back in. That usually fixes it. That's the best thing, because if it's on your phone, it should just work. So I'll wait for you. Don't worry. But I would just close it down completely, boot it back up, same link, and that should do it. Okay, I got a question on the YouTubes. You can look, I can pull these fancy little questions right into my stream. Can you compare art storefronts to Saatchi art? Yep, I could. Saatchi art is a marketplace. Saatchi art breaks all of the rules, meaning you sell on Saatchi art and someone buys and you don't have any idea who that person is, and you can't market to that person in the future. It's just a marketplace. It's no different than being in a retail gallery, except it's an online gallery. With us, you're running your own operation. You are the art gallery. You own everything. You keep the contact information. You have the ability to market to your customers in perpetuity because you actually know who they are. So it's not even close. So yes, it's night and day. Yep, with us, you own everything. It is your operation. And we just teach you to grow it year after year after year after year after year. And Bucky, yes, you can hire the marketing team to run your sales. There's a whole bunch of different things in there. We have a full-blown marketing concierge that'll actually do everything. That's the other thing. Like, you know, the hardest thing to do in any business is go from 0 to 1. 0 to 1 is so hard, right? 0 to 1 it's like clearing all the trees out of the forest, right? Like it is just hard. And we have a lot of people that don't want to do it. And we have a lot of people that are happy to pay for it to happen. And so that's sort of how that whole thing works. So yes, you can find out, Bucky, just ask the agency about support.
Hey, Patrick, Deborah's back, but I just figured she's joined with the phone as well. So we might just unmute her on the phone icon. Can you see it?
Yes.
I can unmute her for you if you want.
Yeah, it's down at the bottom. I got it.
Yep.
Deborah, try on the phone. We'll see if this works.
Yep.
I always love pulling these things off. We're pulling it off one way or the other. So try it first on the phone, Deborah, to unmute there. Yeah, so the other one is unmuted. That's weird. I wonder how she got in with the phone. and also a phone. It shouldn't be showing twice. There's definitely some.
We had that a few weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't really understand. Just keep pressing on mute on everything, Deborah, and we'll see whether or not it works. You never know. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, the live art shows. My goodness. I'm going to be bragging about these results just to let you guys know. 4 weeks. Okay, 4 weeks to go from 1, 2, 3 to that type of growth is just staggering. And by the way, I'm going to interview her, Carol. I'm going to interview her. What time is it? It's tomorrow 1 sometime.
Tomorrow, I think 6 p.m. Central.
Yeah, so I'm going to interview her, and you can hear from her how the whole thing worked and her, her sort of experiences and hear from her how it all went and what she learned. And oh, we got you. Aha!
Maybe.
Yeah, we got you. That's what I'm talking about right there. We can't be defeated. We'll hack at this IT stuff till we have to. So, what's your question, Deborah?
Okay, my question is, I've usually gone through galleries,
Yep.
sell my work, and I have always hesitated to go online to sell because it irritates them, first of all, if they're spending the money and time and effort to sell my work, which I like to have someone else sell my work because I'm not good at it, and I'd rather be painting and creating instead of focused on that. But it seems like what you're saying is accurate in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what the thing that really just infuriates me more than anything else is damn galleries are so exploitative. Of course they don't want you going online because it's gonna erode their business, right? And of course they don't want you going online because it's going to allow you to retain the information on who is actually purchasing your art, right? And that is it. Just I just find it to be, Deborah, like I've been in this business long enough now, and I've seen the numbers long enough now that I now realize how damn exploitative it is. And the reason it's so exploitative is the number one most important metric for an art business over time is the size of the art business's collector list, meaning how many people do you have on a list that's purchased your work, and how well are you taking care of them, right? And again, time after time after time, I see these situations where the people that have been taking care of a collector list, let's keep the math simple, they're coming out with a new show, a new series, and they release 10 pieces, and they email the collector list before the public, and it starts out small, maybe like 10 or 20 or 30% of the show is bought by the collectors, but it ends up going to like 70 or 80% on some of them. And that work is just gone, and you didn't even have to do anything, right? And you can't build a collector list if you don't have any damn idea who's buying your stuff, right? So it just completely destroys it. And it's also exploitated because the galleries know the deepest and darkest secret of all artists, which none of them want to do marketing or selling ever because you hate it. You would much rather just create, yes. Right? And that worked for a long time. But I feel like right now, and the internet has been sort of the great gate crasher and all of this, but I feel like how art is sold, okay, and the gallery artist relationship is going through its Blockbuster Netflix moment. It's going through its taxi cab Uber moment, and you don't need them anymore, and they don't have the same level of power that they did. And you have the ability to market to anyone and truly have an international business. Now, does that mean it's easy? No, it's not. You have to learn how to market, and that is a huge pain in the you-know-what for most people. But the upside potential, Deborah, if you do, is just fantastic, right? Like, do you have any idea where your business would be if for the last 20 years of you selling art, you knew every single solitary person that purchased? Contemplate that.
Right. I agree.
I know.
Yes.
I know. And that's what breaks my heart. But also, you still have 30 years left to do this. You're going to be painting the rest.
Well, maybe.
Yes. Well, I'm optimistic always. You're going to be doing this the rest of. And so you look at that and you're like, okay, I haven't been doing things right up till now. I know that, but I know I need to make a change. And if I do make a change, it's still going to suck for a couple of years because you're going to have to build that thing up. But each year it just gets better and better and better and better, and you have a lasting asset at the end of it, right? And again, I sound extremely confident, at least in my own head, when I say these things. And I'm telling you, Deborah, I've been running 3 of these things a week for a year and a half, and he or she who's closest to the customer knows the most about them. And what's so remarkable about your guys, and I put this in terms of creatives, is like, once I'm done with my job, I am retiring, okay? I am not ever even going anywhere near my job again. I don't even want to hear about it, think about it, or contemplate it. But all these artists and photographers come in, and oftentimes 60s, 70s, 80s, and occasionally 90s. You guys never stop the creation thing. You never stop it. And then not only that, like when you get older in life, like it still just is going to give you purpose and creatively fulfill you. So the fact that you can have something like that and have a business at it all the way until the very end of your life is staggering. I think that's just so amazing. So the point is that, you know, the train hasn't been on the right track. You can fix that now. You have time. It's going to suck for a couple of years, but once you get to the other side of it, you have a business that's continuing to grow year over year over year, and you don't need anyone else to execute it, right? Which is amazing. Anyway, you got me on a long rant.
So, well, no, and I appreciate that very much. So the product that you are offering through your online company is to help us do that. Is that right?
Yeah. Everything from root to shoot. I mean, we sort of realized it's a cool thing about our business, but at first we just made websites, and we realized very early that if you don't have successful customers, you're not going to keep customers around for very long. And then we realized what we had to do. We had to solve the marketing problem. And so that's what we do. And we're essentially best be thought of as a graduate university for art and photography, business and marketing. And, you know, the learning never stops, because in today's landscape, the goalposts move too often. So we just teach you how to market and sell your art for the rest of your life.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you need to go get a demo and see it, Deborah. Have you kept at least a little email list? Do you have like, what are we at number wise there?
Well, I probably have 70 people on it, but
yep.
I mean, as far as collectors and people that have been interested.
Yeah, but I imagine.
Is that what you're saying? Or my actual email list is much larger than that.
Okay, good. Yeah, so you're coming in with some assets already, which is fantastic. How long have you actively been selling art for, just out of curiosity?
Probably 15 years.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, but it's a whole different thing, and technology is not easy for me. It's like learning a new language.
Yeah, I would say most artists are that way. You know, I wouldn't go as far to say Luddites, but I would say close to it, right? Like, you know, it's super frustrating, and the learning curve is pretty steep. But we have the best support you could possibly have. You know, if you read the reviews on our Facebook page, you'll just hear one person after another saying, "Oh my gosh, the support is awesome. The support is awesome." And not only do we support our application, so your website, but if you get stuck on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or with MailChimp, the email service provider that we recommend, support will get you fixed on that too, which is a thing I'm really, really proud of. Not many companies do that. And, you know, they'll jump into Zoom calls, they get you unstuck, get you going. And then, you know, more importantly than that, we have a pretty awesome community, right? And we have Zoom sessions like these internally for customers, usually like 4 or 5 different ones a week, depending on the week. But you can pop into those at any point in time, and what you'll see in there are a bunch of people that look just like you, and you'll end up making friends in there. And, you know, there are plenty of places to collectively rant about technology and about how new this is and about what a pain in the butt it is. And, oh my gosh, I'm pulling my hair out of my head. and everybody sort of helps everyone out because everyone's learning it. And I don't know what the alternative is, right? Like, the marketing has to be done, and you have to have the selling direct business model to give yourself the greatest chance at success and income year after year after year. And you either have to pay somebody to do the marketing, or you have to do the marketing yourself, right? And so we have an in-house agency. You can pay people to do everything in there. You can go off the shelf, a la carte when you want to, and then we have the best education, and then we teach you all year long. So whatever choice you decide, you're supported, right? You have the ability to continue staying consistently marketing, and that's how the businesses grow. And my goodness, you know, once they start growing, like I have seen so many life-changing events where, Like the one example I always use on these, and you're on your phone. Can you see the video, Deborah, or no?
Oh, no, I'm running. Hold on.
You
See
might
if I can get back in there.
Yeah, you might not be able to see it, but I'll show the video for everyone else because that's what I want to do. But I've got my buddy, right, and phenomenally, he's been like a customer for a long time. His name's Matthew Locke, and he's a massively talented dude, massively talented painter, and up till even just pre-COVID, he would do the full dog and pony show of paint for like 6 to 9 months, do the gallery show, promote the crap out of it. Opening night, the red velvet robes, the bartender, performance art in there, the whole deal. He had one show before COVID that he did, and I think he sold, 114,000 Canadian, sold most of the pieces, so he did pretty well. But again, he didn't get to know who the collectors were, and it was a 50-50 split. Even the buyers that he bought in from his list was a 50-50 split, right? And then during the course of COVID, we ran these 2 live art shows with him. And this was in, I got to watch this stupid ads. This was in June 9th, and I didn't think he had ads. Maybe he monetized his account all of a sudden. June 9th and May 22nd. And he was selling a bunch of like really old pieces. So these were pieces that he, no joke, had in his basement from like 10 years ago. So not his latest and greatest. And at the end of this show, okay, he sold 62 pieces for a little bit over 30,000 Canadian, right? And what was crazy to me about it is he lives in Quebec in Canada, and he had to ship pieces in Canada after it was done. He had to ship pieces into the United States. He had to ship, I think, 1 to Mexico, 1 to Central America, 1 to Asia, and a few to Europe. And it's like, that's truly an international business. Now, the shipping headaches of all of that aside, it's truly an international business. And that's one of the most remarkable things. And that's like such an incredible upside, right? Like, even if you're in a gallery in one part of town, you're not seeing to the rest of the world what's possible now, right? And you can totally do it. You can totally do it on your own. But anyway, I romanticize it. You still have to do the hard work. But we can definitely help you. Deborah, I want you to see a demo.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. And good work on the IT. We pulled it off, right? I love it. See? Yeah, and you're worried about learning how to do this, Deborah. We figured you did the hard restart. You logged back out, logged in. That's how we get it done around here. Good job.
Just takes a while.
Yeah, it does. But it's where the most ROI is. It's the best use of time. All right, good session today. I feel like I really enjoyed that. Where do we go from here? What else do I have to mention? I think that's it. I think that covers it. So the demo process that I'm talking about, it's a one-on-one Zoom call with people on our staff. They show you all the bells and whistles of the software and the product and the marketing product and the Zoom sessions and our Facebook group and all the rest of this jazz. And so gives you all the intel you need to actually make the decision if you're ready to take the plunge or not. If you're not, no worries. Totally understand that. But if you are, if you're on the fence, if you're like, okay, this was interesting enough, I want to see what else is going on here, totally recommend the demo. And we're having a huge sale right now to try and get people live before Black Friday. So still have the opportunity to get up, get going, and get marketing. And for those that are not going to do that, use the cell phone. Go live on Facebook. I don't care if only your mother is watching when you go live. Hold up a couple of pieces. Let them know you're going to have a sale on Black Friday, and then email it to whoever you got. Easy enough. You guys can all do that today. Looking at you, Luke, mostly because you're the only one that has a camera still on. But yeah, that's what I would say. But thanks, guys. Good session today. Hope to see you on the inside or on a future session. And, I practice what I preach in terms of these live broadcasts. I'm doing these things how often? 5-6 days a week. Often. Yeah, what is that? That car looks... Hold on. Hold that thing up. I want to see it. Yeah, that's rad. Is that Corvette? I can't tell. There you go. He's doing a live art show right now. And I feel like your niche is a diehard niche, Alex. Oh yeah, I'm not showing it. Hold on, sorry guys. Why you tell me I'm not showing it? Now go. Yeah. See? I normally sell these for such and such, and the small ones are great. And you can do it. Those ones, by the way. I love this idea, and don't laugh at me. I'm going to unmute. You'd push back if you want to. Dude, the bathroom art show. Okay, you guys all have bathrooms. The walls are tiny in there, right? We need to freshen things up. So I'm doing the bathroom live art show. All pieces that are specifically designed to go into bathrooms. They look great in series, right? And then start doing because yours all connect, right? to the racing fans. So I know it sounds a little edgy with the bathroom sale idea. That's a damn good
Guy
idea.
Cave though.
What's that?
Guy Cave though.
Guy Cave all day.
So this what you're looking at is actually part of a from a longtime client want to do something different, want to do 12 months. So they're having the ability to flip out the different pieces each month.
Yeah,
So
love it. And have you started doing the merch stuff yet too?
yeah,
Good.
Yeah, that was the thing. I was like sold probably 5 cell phone covers and a couple pillows and a couple of bags.
The pillows too. Like, I'm into the pillows, and I gotta do a screen share because you and I are the only ones that know what we're talking about here. Hold on, I'm gonna pull them up. But I watched like everyone. So we have the ability to sell merch. Okay, we have the ability to sell merch one click, meaning it's print on demand, meaning you don't have to have any inventory. Okay, and you don't have any minimums, and that's an incredible thing. That did not exist, okay, in my day when I was coming up. You used to have to buy like 50 of the things, right? And then you had to warehouse them. And then, God forbid you didn't sell them. You were left holding the bag. The fact that you can do it print on demand is insane. But guess what? Some of the merchandise is really, really cheesy, okay? I don't sugarcoat it. I had all of it at my house. And sometimes it's really, really crap. But I watched, okay, and I'm pulling it up. I watched Bill Stidham last year, okay, sell so damn many of these pillows with Santa Claus on it. And the way that people were looking at it, they were like, you know what? I can just buy 2 of these stupid things, okay? And they're $30 a piece. And so, I'll buy 2 of them, throw them on the couch for Christmas when everyone comes over, back into the closet they go, right?
Yep.
Dude, that's a genius idea. That's a genius idea. And it's like, for you, the logo issues aside, like, if I was a massive Mercedes fan and it was going to be F1 and like the pillows could come out every single solitary time for F1 and back in, you just have to communicate it that way, right? It's a good idea. You're laughing. I'm serious.
No. I agree.
It's cool.
I've got a Lewis Hamilton original for you.
Yes. It's really, really cool. I want to keep seeing that feud going, by the way. It really just fires me up. There's something great about a feud in racing. I don't know what it is. Feud in anything. But anyway, all right.
It's theater.
It is theater, but it makes it awesome. It makes it more approachable too.
Sure.
So, all right, that's what I got. See you guys on the inside. Merchandising workshop Friday. I want you to come. It's gonna be good. Well, we're gonna email the crap out of you. I don't even know what time, but I know it's scheduled. But all right, guys. Thanks everyone for sticking around, listening to me rant. Hope to see you inside and customers. Otherwise, get that sale going for Q4 and.